I didn't even know we took off, honestly. And then, yeah, I'm sleeping and I just feel the plane drop. And it wasn't like any other turbulence, just because the masks had came down too. So that's when I knew, like, oh gosh, this is something way different. And yeah, I started freaking out. They're like, ladies and gentlemen, like, put on your mask and don't help other people until you've helped yourself. And I'm like looking around and I see flight attendants handing out oxygen tanks, and that kind of made me want to calm down, because I was like, I don't want to be someone with an oxygen tank. Like, there has to be someone else who needs it more than me. In the moment, a lot of tears. I just didn't know what was going on. But the thing I will say is I feel that a lot of people around me were a lot calmer than I would have thought for a situation like this. I still am feeling a little shaky. I really want to go see my friends and my boyfriend, so that's what I'm looking forward to. And I travel a lot for my job as well, so I know that I really just have to not have this fear of flying or I can't do my job. I keep reminding myself, like, trying to think logically, like, the odds of this happening again are so slim, and the crew was amazing in, like, the situation, and, like, even the flight attendant afterwards checking in on me I thought was so sweet, that she had, like, remembered me from in the midst of all of that. I think it's just crazy. Like, when we were standing in line at guest services waiting to get rebooked and everyone's looking at that picture together, I was like, oh my gosh, like, that is, like, literally, like, entire door or panel of the plane that flew out. And like, when I initially had gotten off the plane, everyone was saying, oh, window shattered, and I genuinely thought it was just like a little crack, like something like that could make the whole plane. But that makes total sense now that, like, the whole door flew off. But yeah, I'm so grateful we weren't higher in the air, like, that more things didn't fly out, that no one flew out. I think that's incredible that we're all safe for the most part.
Just stocked up.
That backdrop of the long period of grounding, I think now we can only expect to see very serious efforts to get to the root of this problem, to understand it, to exercise an abundance of caution about the aircraft until it's known what the problem was, why it was caused, and what needs to be done. And in my view, the time I'm speaking, we don't yet have information, is we could see at least a partial temporary grounding of aircraft of the same type, maybe the same period of production, for inspection. It wouldn't have actually made a significant difference to the pilot's ability to control the plane. They certainly would have put their oxygen masks on straight away once it was apparent there'd been a breach to the structure causing some depressurization, but not an issue of controlling the plane. As we saw, the pilots were able to bring that aircraft back safely for an emergency landing. And had the aircraft been at higher altitude, at cruising altitude, for example, maybe more passengers would have unbuckled their belt, could even have been moving back the cabin, and then certainly there would have been a risk of loss of life, with passengers potentially able to be sucked out of the aircraft. It's far too early to tell why this piece of fuselage structure became detached. I think it is of note that the aircraft was a very new aircraft, only produced and entered service a couple of months ago in November 2023. Of course, we would not expect to see such an event on any aircraft, no matter what age in service, with a good maintenance regime. So I think it is a particular relevance that this was a very new aircraft. The exit is effectively plugged. That's quite a normal process in many aircraft to have a potential for an exit, but it's not required from a point of view of safety and regulation. But given that it is plugged, of course, it is expected to be a secure part of the structure of the aircraft, and that's why it's all the more surprising and a matter of concern that this blowout happened.
Where are the? How do you get in here?
It'd be a little harder than that.
That's kind of crazy that that's something that actually happened. That's something that you see in, like, horror movies about that actually happening. And then it's not the most, making me the most confident this morning to get on a flight. We came here to get our refund in person because that was the only option. and we were told by somebody that there was an issue with one of their planes, so we have to wait and our flight was canceled. So we're now rebooking because there was an issue.
I was so scared because here we are getting ready to fly out today to Mexico. I've never heard of that happening ever, so wondering how everybody did on the flight.
I got a text this morning at 4:45 saying our flights were canceled, and I booked our flights, the three of us, and so I got two texts. They didn't know about it, and so when I woke them up, they had heard about what happened with the airplane last night, so they figured there was some connection.
We knew nothing until we walked over to check in and get our bags tagged, and it said, oh, we can't tag your bags because the flight's been canceled. Then we came here, we've been standing in line, which hasn't moved at all. And so that's just where we've been the entire time.
Following a cabin panel blowout of a brand new Boeing 737 MAX 9 aircraft operated by Alaska Airlines that prompted an emergency landing in Portland, Oregon, U.S. regulators have now ordered the temporary grounding of 171 of the jets. The decision came after a piece of fuselage tore off the left side of the aircraft late Friday, forcing pilots to turn back and safely land a plane that was en route to Ontario, California, with 171 passengers and 6 crew on board.
Yeah, I'm sleeping and I just feel the plane drop, and it wasn't like any other turbulence just because the mask side came down too. So that's when I knew, like, oh gosh, this is something way different. And yeah, I started freaking out.
Emma Vu was one of the passengers on the plane.
In the moment, a lot of tears. I just didn't know what was going on, but a thing I will say is I feel that a lot of people around me were a lot calmer than I would have thought for a situation like this.
The Federal Aviation Administration's decision falls well short of a full indefinite safety ban, comparable to the grounding of all MAX family jets almost 5 years ago, following major crashes in 2018 and 2019. Alaska Airlines CEO Ben Minicucci said in a statement that its fleet of 65 similar planes would be returned to service only after precautionary maintenance and safety inspections, which he expected to be completed in the next few days. There were no immediate indications of the cause of the apparent structural failure Friday, nor any reports of injuries. The National Transportation Safety Board said on Saturday that a team of experts in structures, operations, and systems would arrive on the scene later that day. Boeing also said it was looking into the incident. According to FAA data, the new MAX 9 was delivered to Alaska Airlines in late October and certified in early November.